Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's live House of the Dragon book spoilers discussion on season 2 and season 3 predictions. Very long title of this video, but anyway, the important part of that title, if you didn't catch it, was book spoilers. So if you have not read them their books, you don't want to watch this video, otherwise we will spoil the hell out of the upcoming seasons that will come in 2 fucking years that we had to wait for. But anyway, we're going to get all into book spoilers about how season 2 played out and what we think might happen next in season 3. But first, got to introduce the guests. First, has been a very long time. Welcome back to the channel, Don Willie. Thanks so much for joining us for this.
Hey, Valamogolis, everybody. Don Willie, and I am finally back after a very, very long time away. Mark, Alyssa, thank you for having me on. Can't wait to talk show spoilers, book spoilers, predictions, all of that good stuff. So let's go.
All right, and of course, joining me as always, Alyssa. Alyssa, thanks so much for joining.
Yes, good to be here and to just have a whole video where we can just let it all out. We don't have to hold it back. We don't have to wait till the end of the video to do a special book spoiler section. We can just get into it. Excited about that.
Yeah, after we're tired from talking 2.5 hours, and then we kind of just get into the spoilers. But yeah, the whole video on spoilers. So, Don, I wanted to tell you about the live stream because, as Alyssa just mentioned, we used to do book spoiler sections at the end of the live stream after we finished talking about the episode. And after episode 2 of House of the Dragon, my prediction was that episode 3 would introduce the dragon seeds, episode 4 would be Rook's Rest, episode 5 would be the Red Sowing, episode 6 would be the Battle of the Gullet, episode 7 would be the aftermath of the Gullet, and setting up for episode 8, which would be the finale of Rhaenyra taking King's Landing. And yeah, the pacing didn't go that way. It didn't turn out that way. And I'm not upset I got my predictions wrong. I'm upset that the season was paced very poorly. Now, granted, I can see why maybe that would have been a bit too fast, but still, I don't know. But anyway, Don, I wanted to start, since you haven't joined us for any of these other discussions, what were your feelings on House of the Dragon Season 2? As a whole.
So firstly, fuck Kristen Cole and his hair. Allison, very fleshed out character. You know, I like the nuance that we got out of her. I like the fact that we got a little nuance out of the Aegon and Aemond situation as well, because in the books it definitely had them looking a lot more chummy, and here we got to see a lot of the interplay back and forth, and you know, Aemond, who, even if you look at him in season 1, you definitely saw that he was the one who was preparing for whatever may come, and for him to kind of come out on top. Whereas Aegon, you know, he's been a party boy the entire time, you know, and we get to see now how the things that they did when they were younger translated into the actions that they took as they got older. And, you know, with Aegon actually now assuming the throne, but having to prepare for war, but never taking any of this kind of stuff seriously, you know, you see now where things have gotten as far as uh, Aemon being the person that he is and Aegon being the person that he is. And I like the fact that they gave those two and their story a lot of nuance and kind of seeing like, is it going to be you know, are they enemies? Are they frenemies? You know, how does that all work out? Helena, you know, I like the fact that they gave her more to do. I missed Otto Hightower. missed Otto Hightower, and testament to the actor Reese Evans. Oops, and sorry about that. That wasn't supposed to happen on my phone. Anyway, and just the overall what they have done as far as fleshing out a lot of the characters, I did like. And while I know a lot of people were not happy with Damon at Harrenhal, I actually liked it because that reminded me a lot more of reading some of the Daenerys chapters in the books or some of the Bran chapters in the books where, yeah, you may not get things necessarily moving, but you got insight into, there was a lot of world building with that, a lot of mythology building, and also symbolism that we got with that. So I understand, people's complaints about it being boring because Damon spent basically the whole season not doing a damn thing. Totally get that. But I think that what we got, I think that people are going to go back later on and look at what happened with Damon and say, you know what? No, that actually was pretty smart. Yeah, it was paced kind of poorly because it wasn't action, but what we got from it in terms of information about him as a person and how all of this kind of how his past experiences and what he thought he was owed, how that shaped him. So that was something that I really enjoyed, and I don't want to ramble on too much longer. Point is, season two was very good for majority of it, and then at some point, it certain things started to feel disjointed, and then certain things got dragged out for way too long. And unfortunately, that finale, episode 7, should have been the finale of the season. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there for now.
So, did you have a problem with the pacing of the finale? Like, what didn't you like about the finale? The fact that nothing really happens and it's just a big tease for season three? Because that was my only issue with it, or my main issue with the finale.
Yeah, I mean, it was long and drawn out for nothing to happen. It was kind of like when they would talk about the dubstep buildup. It was like, when is the actual song going to start? You spend all this time building and building and building. When is the fucking drop, people? So that's basically what happened with that entire last episode. They, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say with Damon, I liked his storyline too. I thought it was a good character story for him. He starts the season of not being sure, wanting the throne for himself, but then goes on a journey to realize that he needs to support Rhaenyra. Problem is, like, it didn't need to be that long. Like, we got far too many extra scenes. It's not that it was boring; it's that it was dragged out. Like, we didn't need to get scenes of him having sex with his mother. Like, what is that was completely unnecessary, and they could have condensed it into 3 episodes. They could have condensed Corliss is constantly standing by on the docks by his ship being repaired every single episode, and Rhaenyra was staring out over the balcony of Dragonstone every single episode. Like, all this stuff could have been condensed to come up with a better finale that actually hit something.
I definitely agree with that. You know, and it's funny though because they had originally planned for 10 episodes, and then the budget got slashed, and they were told, "No, sorry, you're going to 8 episodes." And apparently, like, this series is supposed to be 5 seasons. But then I think I heard, yeah, I was about to say, I think I heard a couple of days ago that now it's 4 seasons.
It was always 4.
It's always been 4. I don't know where people got 5 from.
Really?
Yeah,
Brian-
just a couple
Brian
months
Cranston,
ago.
Yeah, He said 4 a couple months ago. George R. R. Martin said 4. Although George R. R. Martin said it should be 4 of 10 episodes each.
Yeah.
But that's what he thought it should be. And Ryan Cohnhill has been saying 4 the whole time.
Yeah,
But
since season 1 aired and just 2 months ago, and now again reiterating.
Yeah.
Huh,
So,
okay, I had always heard 5.
yeah, a lot of people said 5, but I don't know where they got it from because the showrunners actually said 4. So, but a lot of other people said 5.
Either way,
I mean, after this finale, I thought it was going to be 5.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it in 5
left.
now. They could easily do it in 5 now if they wanted to, but they're still saying 4.
Well, it depends on what is going to be the ending of this show, because Game of Thrones, unlike House of the Dragon, there wasn't supposed to be anything that comes after Game of Thrones. It's like, okay, the White Walkers are defeated. You know, the Seven Kingdoms are broken up into whatever regions, or there's a Stark that runs everything of some sort. You know, you got the Stark in the south, the Stark in the north, and the Stark in the far north, and then a Stark in Newfoundland or whatever. The only place you were missing the Stark is in Essos. So we know that, hey, this is supposed to be the ultimate triumph of the Starks, and there's nothing that we know of afterwards. Whereas House of the Dragon, after the Dance of the Dragons, you still got 200 more years of history to go. So, where are you saying that this show in particular ends? And then there's also the fact of George. Hello, McFly, are you in there? George still has yet to finish Fire and Blood Part 2. So do you now say, okay, well, we have to end House of the Dragon exactly where Fire and Blood Part 1 ends, because even though we have the world of Ice and Fire that has a majority of, or at least some truncated portion of the Targaryen history from Aegon all the way up into Aerys II, the question is now, because Fire and Blood goes into way more detail, do you now say, well, we don't want to spoil anything that might be in Fire and Blood Part 2, so we have to end it with Aegon III basically taking the Iron Throne, and ended where it ended in the book?
Well,
if you're talking about where Fire and Blood itself ends, it goes a little bit beyond that.
Well, yeah, because the last thing is the last thing that happens is Aegon III's regency, when he becomes 16 and he's like, okay, cool, I'm 16 now, I'm ready to take the throne.
Okay.
So, but I
don't think the show is going to go that far. I think the show is going to,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it might
at the end of the Dance of the Dragons, and it'll be said, okay, Aegon III's gonna is gonna take the throne, and he's gonna be the heir now, and he's gonna marry Jaehaerys, even though she ends up, is it Jaehaerys or Jaehaera, or however their name, the female, the daughter.
Jaehaera,
that. And it probably, I bet they wouldn't even get to the part where she actually dies. Like, I don't even know if they'll get that far. Like,
this is so yeah. House of Dragon is basically just telling the story of Dance of the Dragon. So when the Dance of the Dragon ends, it's going to end. It's kind of been undetermined. They were talking before about maybe doing more seasons where they do a different story, but they could start anywhere they wanted. But apparently, the Aegon's Conquest is going to be its own show. So. I don't know if they're going to keep going after Dance of the Dragons or just end it there and focus more on other shows. Apparently, I read there's 7 shows in development.
Yeah.
So
they also got the Dunkin' Egg show coming out really soon, and that's going to cover a different era.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, George McFly. So we've only got, there's only 3 published books for Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, again, yeah. So, he's got a lot of books, but instead he's doing all this other things.
Yeah,
But
stop
wait,
doing all these publicity and like get off the damn TV and like you've got so many books to write.
but my predictions on how House of the Dragon would end at the end of season 4 would be with the Hour of the Wolf being the last episode, and I'm imagining them doing like some sort of, maybe Corliss will do this narration of what happens afterwards, like really going really quickly about, oh, and the dragons died off, and ending the show there.
Yeah, I was picturing something like that as well. Something similar to that. So can I talk about what I thought of season 2? I mean, I know
Yes.
I've already talked about it,
Yeah, sure.
but just kind of we talked about it in our last, video that we did with Darren, but just in relation to the book material, because I didn't get to be specific because Darren hasn't read it and we were making it spoiler free. But I have been predicting since 2 years ago that season 2 would and should end with Rhaenyra taking the Iron Throne. And even once I found out there were 8 episodes, I still thought they could do it. I heard the rumors earlier on that they were going to push the Battle of the Gullet to season 3. Initially, what I had heard was that they were going to move the order around and have Rhaenyra taking King's Landing happen first, which it still might. I mean, it's going to be kind of about the same time, it looks like, simultaneous, because the Battle of the Gullet doesn't really make sense after Rhaenyra has established herself on the throne, because they would just remove the blockade themselves. But it could happen simultaneously.
Well, it could be. This is what I had predicted before: is that it could be them just trying to retake King's Landing.
Yeah, that
And
could be. Well, right now they've already set the stage for Tylan. Went and did all those silly scenes with that Admiral character to do to break the blockade. So that's what they're doing. So
so it has a stand.
I think it's still going to be that. But I think that Rhaenyra may be taking King's Landing simultaneously, or maybe just after it.
So if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that they said in the last episode that the Triarchy fleet was going to get there in 2 days, and Alyssa told Rhaenyra to go to King's Landing in 3 days.
Yeah, but the time could be wonky. We don't.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I had always thought, even if you have to move the Battle of the Gullet to happening just after, remember there were actually leaks and spoilers that said that it was going to end with Rhaenyra taking King's Landing, and then she was going to get a letter from Tylan, who didn't or get a raven from Tylan, not realizing that Aegon and Aemon were no longer there, and saying, we've successfully stopped this blockade, and then that was how the season was going to end. Remember there was like leaks and spoilers that were not true. And that, I could see that happening. But the bottom line is, no matter how they did it, I always thought the season needed to end with Rhaenyra taking the Iron Throne. And even when it was reduced to 8 episodes, I still felt it was totally possible to end there. But as you said, it's just a lot of dragging out storylines. I agree with you what you said about Daemon. Well, both of you said about Daemon. I enjoy the Daemon storyline. I know our friend Darren did a lot of complaining about it. I know I've definitely seen a lot of other people on the YouTube doing a lot of complaining about it. And I get where they're coming from, because it definitely dragged out way too long. But so you can reduce some of that. There's a lot of things that you could reduce, condense, cut out. In retrospect, I think so. I said after the finale that it was a penultimate episode to set us up for a finale. So I really feel like if you move things around, condense things, episodes 1 through 5, you could have the Red Song be episode 6. You could have what we just saw as episode 7, and then you have an actual finale as episode 8. And I've heard a lot of framing around this that, people are just upset because it's there was no action. It's not that there was no action; there was no ending. There was no final conclusion. So I just a side note. I don't know if either of you guys watched this. Don probably did, but I just finished watching Fallout on Amazon Prime. I'm not familiar with the video game at all, but I know nothing about the video game. But I got Prime, so I was like, oh, we'll check the show out, and I really liked it. And I thought that like, oh, this is an example of this is a serialized story with a really good, solid ending at the end of the season. Like this is a clear ending, and yet they're setting up. Okay, this is how the story is going to continue in season 2. We're going to continue to be serialized. They're setting up. And season 2 is going to be a different thing. With this, it's going to go on a different direction, but continue the story. And yet, season 1 has an ending. And I was like, "This is what I want to see in a serialized TV show." They did it exactly right. Whereas, House of the Dragon just did not end the season. So you could have had minimal action. I think you could have had Rhaenyra taking King's Landing with very minimal action.
Yes.
It would have felt like an ending. Like, so I don't care. I think it's Ryan Condal who's like, oh, all the fans are upset that there was no action. Maybe some people are, but that's not, for me personally, that's not my hang up. I don't care about the action. I want there to be a freaking ending. There was no ending. It was build up to more build up. Like we built up all season. And what do we get for our build up? More build up. And so like I still just say they failed in not ending it with Rhaenyra taking King's Landing. That would have been a perfect way to end the season. And I maintain they could have done it even in 8 episodes if they had condensed a lot of the drag out. And don't even get me started again on Rhaena running around the Vale for 4 episodes, drinking water. Like and nobody noticing that she's gone. I mean, come on! Like that whole thing could have been like 2 episodes max. Like it could have been 1 episode of her saying, "Hey, Lady Jane, there's a dragon there. I thought you said there was no dragons." Next episode, she's on Sheep Stealer. Obviously that seems to be what the show wants to do. They've cut Nettles out. They're going to give Rhaena Sheep Stealer. That very much seems like what they're doing. But you get done that in 2 episodes, and even at the end of it, she doesn't even get on the fucking dragon. If you want her to have sheep, like I'm not upset that I know a lot of people are upset that they cut Nettles. I'm fine, whatever. I know it's Game of Thrones had to do that too. They cut out characters that a lot of people love from the books. It's choices you have to make. I'm fine with that. I'm not upset about them cutting Nettles. But if you're gonna give Nettles' story arc to Rhaena, just fucking do it. Like just take 4 episodes and then she still doesn't get the damn dragon. So that kind of makes me crazy.
Hold on. So you know what's going to happen for the first half of next season is going to be Rhaena finding sheep to give to Sheep Stealer, gain Sheep Stealer's trust, so she can finally ride the damn dragon.
So all right. So as far as Ryan Condor or whoever saying that, oh, people are upset they weren't action, like this, that reminds me of the showrunners being like Game of Thrones season 8 being like, oh, well, they're just upset that the theories didn't come true, or oh, people are going to be upset at everything, as so you can't please everyone. These are just ways to try to deflect from the fact that you told a bad story, that you did not do good storytelling. And it's people who understand good story structure and good storytelling giving legitimate criticism that you're just finding bullshit straw men in order to dismiss their legitimate concerns. That's all that is. And so that angers me. It makes me think.
No, you don't get to tell us what we're mad about. I mean, and to be fair, there might be some people that is their general complaint, is that there's not enough action, but that's not my complaint. Like, I don't care about the action as long as you have an ending.
Yeah, story structure. And I do also disagree with you, Don, about the Redstone should have been the finale, because as awesome as that was, and don't get me wrong, that scene was fucking awesome, it is still essentially set up. Like, they needed to have a payoff, and what this whole season has been building to, what they've been reiterating over and over and over again, is Rhaenyra taking King's Landing. So that needed to be the payoff.
Okay, you know what? I won't disagree. I think the issue is that episode 8 did committed the cardinal sin of entertainment, and that is it was boring. Okay, so it's not even about whether or not it had an end. The fact is, it was boring.
See,
It
I
is
disagree with that. I actually
entertainment.
like.
It is entertainment. Entertainment is not supposed to make you want to pull out the last of your hair.
No,
Entertainment is
that's
not supposed to make you say, "Hey, you know what? I drunk a lot of coffee today. I can watch this and fall asleep very easily."
so.
Entertainment is not supposed to do that, and it has nothing to do with action.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree with you there. I think there were really good scenes, and I think that episode 8 would have made a really, really great, awesome penultimate episode. If it was setting, if we got an episode after that was finale or something happened, I think it would have been pretty good. It's the fact that it was the finale is what for me makes me not like it.
Well, yeah,
Um,
look, I get what you're saying, right? And again, it's not like the entirety of the episode was boring, but unfortunately, there was way too much bore. And then at the end of it, when you're thinking, okay, maybe this could be salvaged if they land the plane, and they said, oh, no, look, hey, here is the landing strip. Look, oh, okay, all right. Oh no, we're going back up.
All right. So what? So Ryan Condal, I read this interview with him. He was asked directly why the Battle of the Gullet wasn't included this season, and he basically said, "Oh well, we had to plot out the whole. We knew we were going to end in season 4, so we had to plot out the story exactly, and this is how we thought the best way would work for it." And the other thing he said is it's going to be a really expensive, really hard to shoot battle, and so kind of implying budget reasons we couldn't do too much in this season, we had to push it back to the next season, and also implying that they needed more time to set it up. And I'm like, yeah, well, don't have Damon have visions about sleeping with his mother and you'll have plenty of time to set it up. But
Well, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. One last thing.
Go
So
ahead.
that goes against the theory of some people were trying to say that they had written all the scripts for 10 episodes and HBO pulled it and said 8 at the last second. What Ryan Condal is saying for me goes against that and saying this is his decision. He wanted to do it this way.
What I am having a trouble with is at some point you are going to have a lot of big CGI dragon battles in a season. Like now that they've pushed the Battle of Golett back, so and we can get into this maybe if you want, like what's going to be in season 3, because well, I had originally thought we might get the Shepherd in season 3. I think that's clearly a season 4 storyline now because Rhaenyra hasn't even taken King's Landing yet. But I think you got to have Daemon and Aemon in season 3. That's going to be a big battle, like dragon battle. And if you want to do any battles, if you want this to be a war, you're going to have to pay a big budget. So now that they've pushed the Battle of Golett back, they're just now crowding it with other big budget things that they need to do, which is what made me think that maybe they are doing 5 seasons. But then Ryan Condal came out and said nope, we're still doing 4. So at some point, like season 3 and 4, now you're going to have to really have a high budget because you've got so many big battle CGI things that you're going to need to do in those 2 seasons. So you would have been better to spread it out a little bit more and have the Battle of Golett in season 2. But now you're going to have that, at the very least, I think, in the same season that you have Aemon and Daemon having their big battle.
Well, so all right, let's just jump because that leads up into predictions for the next season. So let's jump into that. So what I'm thinking though is that, well, first of all, season 2 it had Rook's Rest and the Red Sowing, so those are both huge dragon things. And I'm thinking that season 3 they're actually not going to have the Daemon Aemon fight, that they're going to push that back to season 4 because so they could keep Matt Smith on the show longer. and keep the Aemon on the show longer. So I think that my predictions is the only really big dragon battles we'll get in season 3 is Battle of the Gullet and then first Battle of Tumbleton, and that's where I'm predicting they'll end season 3 is with the first Battle of Tumbleton.
I'm trying to remember, the first Battle of Tumbleton happened before Aemon Daemon?
Yes,
it did. Okay,
I believe so. Where's my? I was just looking at it. Yeah.
I mean, they can always rearrange the order.
Yeah, they can always rearrange. No, actually, I think it is after, but I think they're going to rearrange it to keep Matt.
Okay, because well, that was my original thought, that they wanted to keep Matt Smith around longer. But if they're going to only have 4 seasons, then they can do 1 season without him. And I just feel like they need to do so. If they don't have that, at least in season 3, then they're putting too much in season 4. If there's only going to be a 4th season, like there's way too much to get done in season 4. If they don't have that, if they don't have the Shepherd, if they don't have the second battle, like there's no way they could do it. They would have to do 5 seasons at that point. So if they're sticking with 4 seasons, I think they gotta have Daemon and Aemon's battle at the end of the season, especially since they have foreshadowed it. This is what I couldn't say to Darren. They spoiled both of their deaths in the finale. They spoiled, like Helena is like giving big spoilers. She's like, she's not a dreamer, she's a spoiler. She's like telling us how Aemon is going to die, and then we saw in Daemon's visions how he dies.
Yeah.
So if you have the context for it, you know. So they've already done that in season 2. So to wait until all the way till season 4, it seems like I think they're setting that up for the end of season 3. But
maybe. I mean, you could be right. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I think if what I'm saying is true, that means season 4 would have the whole dragon pit thing, which I actually think is going to be towards the end of the season, that they're only going to have like 2 episodes after that. Or 2 or 3.
I think they're going to have to push that back because Rhaenyra does a whole lot of nothing in between that and getting to where she meets Aegon. So I think they're probably going to push those things a little bit closer.
I think they're I kind of envision it. She gets kicked out of King's Landing. Very next episode, she goes to Dragonstone and finds Aegon there.
No, first she's going to go to Harrenhal, have a lot of visions. And then she's going to go run around in the Vale looking for a dragon. So it's going to be at least 4 episodes before she.
All right, but here's the one point I want to make down first, and I'll let you talk. But the first point I want to make is season 3 and 4. As much as we like to make fun of season 2 for being slow paced, things need to happen more quickly. It has to if they want to get to the end of the story. By the end of season 4, then they're going to have to. They have no choice to pick up the pace going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that, I'm thinking that Rhaenyra meets Aegon at the end of the episode where she has to flee King's Landing. Now, it'll probably, like, I would have it that, I mean, at least I would think that, she's gonna turn up there at the end of the episode and be like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" He's gonna be sitting there like, "Oh, lovely seeing you in this place," and that's where it ends. And then it picks up with, guards, arrest her. She's my treacherous sister. And then we, Joffrey already spoiled what happened from there.
Yes, we've talked about that.
Yeah. They keep saying that Sunfire's dead.
I was just about to say, I'm like,
who said that Sunfire was dead?
Someone said it earlier in the season. Aegon said it in the finale. It's like, my dragon is dead.
Well, maybe he's wrong about that.
Yeah, I think he's wrong. He's got to be wrong. Maybe
because
he just
then Joffrey already said that it happened, so it has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he just so happened to read it in the world of Ice and Fire.
Now, I think that Aegon's just assumed that Sunfire died because he was, badly hurt.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think he's gonna. Very teary-eyed reunion between Aegon and Sunfire.
Yeah, I do think that somebody else earlier in the season though said that or maybe that's what was reported to Rhaenyra. I
Oh
think
yeah, Rhaenyra said it. That's who it was. Yeah, and
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean,
she could have
that
just been
that
wrong.
doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Like
Yeah,
Sunfire Fest could
exactly.
still very much be
Yeah.
alive.
but yeah, that's what it was. Somebody had told Rhaenyra that Melees and Sunfire were both dead.
So I want to address in the chat Alex saying that season 3 needs to be 10 episodes. I don't necessarily agree. I think it is possible for them to do 3 and 4 and 8 episodes, but they need to not have Corliss standing by a ship being repaired the whole season. Not
See,
have Damon.
now I think that they're going to have. I kind of agree with Alex because in order to keep like a reason, so you don't want to go too slow, but you also don't want to go too fast. I feel like 8 episodes each at this point because season 2 was so slow. Now they have to go fast, fast, like really fast. Whereas I think 10 episodes, I think, is more reasonable for them to do a more reasonable pace for 2 more seasons, 20 more episodes to get
Yeah.
the story done.
Well, I don't agree. I think they could go at a reasonable pace in 8 episodes. I think they could do it without it being too fast.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not at this point. Like they could have. If this one was well paced, but since this one was too slow, that they're too far behind to go at a normal pace in 8 episodes each. That's my opinion, though.
No, I still think it's possible. I just think that season 4 is like a lot of stuff is going to happen in the very end. Like Rhaenyra losing King's Land is not going to happen until like almost the penultimate episode or towards the end.
Well, then, so like, you think the Hour of the Wolf will be like the will that take up the whole finale, or is that just going to be like they're going to just condense it and make it a quick epilogue?
Yeah, it's possible they could smush that whole Aegon retaking King's Landing and Hour and the Wolf and do it in the same episode and that be the finale.
You know what? Honestly speaking, I think that they're probably going to wind up being episode 9 is no, end of episode 8. Aegon takes King's Landing. Episode 9, is the aftermath of him taking King's Landing, him dying, that whole thing that happens after that, and then episode 10 starts with the Hour of the Wolf and winds up ending with Aegon the Third, and then an epilogue of him saying, "Okay, hey, I'm 16 now. I'm ready to be king."
So, see, what I will say to that, Don, is that the exact same prediction I made 2 years ago. But I've kind of changed my mind now because of how slowly season 2 moved. But it's kind of, but I would be okay with that. But that's depending, that is depending on if they go to 10 episodes in the next season. And that kind of depends if the people saying it was HBO's decision or was it Ryan Condal's. Because as Ryan Condal's, he can be like, no, I'd rather do 10. If it was HBO, they're going to be stuck doing 8 regardless, and they're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. Which
well, I hope that he would get once the season is renewed. Season 3 already has been. That they need to give him like a firm this number of episodes and this is what you have to work with. Like not change it on him. But so I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to talk about the Hour of the Wolf because that whole thing and everything leading up to it, I just wonder how the show is going to do it because we've talked about this before, Mark, but I think they have changed Rhaenyra's character so much from the book to make her such a hero, that she never was in the book. She does some sketchy things. I think the red sewing was pretty sketchy.
Yes.
So she's not, a total hero, but compared to how she was portrayed in the book, so I wonder if they're going to really be able to pull off the madness that she takes, where she wants to kill all bastards, and especially since Nettles isn't even going to be on the show, so they can't have the whole thing where she tries to, have that Lord kill Nettles, but he's not allowed to touch Daemon, and then Daemon finds out about it and gets pissed and blah blah blah. They can't have any of that, so they can't really, because the key thing in that was Rhaenyra. imprisoning Corlys because Corlys helped Alan escape. And I cannot see that happening in the show because that was strategically moronic for her to put Corlys in the black cells because guess what happened after that? Then she lost her fleet. The fleet that she had turned against her. It was like, well, you put our lord in the black cells, so fuck you. We're not serving you anymore. And I just can't imagine show Rhaenyra doing that. At least
Well,
not they have her set up so far. And then that all plays into then Corlys works with Larys to murder Aegon and all that. Like I don't know. I'm not saying they can't still do it in some fashion, but I just don't know how because it just seems like it would be difficult to imagine show Rhaenyra doing what book Rhaenyra does.
if I may, I think that the red sewing and how things went down there with her, yes, telling the dragon seeds, yeah, this is what's possible, and then just kind of, the way that she turned around and walked out of there when Vermithor came up and was like, "Okay, hey, we're gonna let the dragon decide whether or not you get to live or die," without exactly saying those words, and then kind of walking out of there and leaving those people there, not only to possibly burn or be eaten, but to have the guards block their way while she just kind of stands over the balcony looking like, "Oh, okay, damn, oh, thought you looked faster. You looked a lot faster. Oh man, oh geez, uh, that has some very flammable material. I got to make sure that my next dress is not made out of that." Wow. I mean, because if you look at the look that she had on her face while all of that was going on, it wasn't necessarily a look of satisfaction, but it definitely wasn't a look of, "Oh my God, what have I done?" It wasn't a look of horror at all. And it reminded me a lot of, later Daenerys when I mean, not season 8, Looney Tunes Daenerys, but I would say Marine Daenerys around the time where she, started clashing with the Wise Masters. Um, so I think that they definitely can make that turn for her as long as they don't do like what they did with Daenerys in those last 3 or 4 episodes where she all of a sudden becomes a cross between Daffy Duck and freaking and Golem. My precious, my precious.
Well,
The people must like me because I have the precious.
yeah. But again, I think the biggest problem I have is not necessarily just her going mad, but her going so mad that she does something so strategically stupid as to just give up her navy. Like by putting, like she's just so overtaken with madness and anger and lust for revenge. And also in the book is Mysaria who's kind of planting that in her. And like, I don't see show Mysaria doing that because she's very much for the people, for the small folk. So I don't know. I just they can do it, but I just don't see how.
So I've actually come around to your way of thinking, Alyssa. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it's going to be a similar situation to what they did with Alicent in season 2, and how she is portrayed totally different from the books. She was like bloodthirsty, oh, definitely kill them, blah blah. And but here she's like doesn't want any death and actually tries to surrender King's Landing. And then they came up with that line excuse of Rhaenyra saying history will portray you as the villain. So I kind of think that they're going to go that same route with Rhaenyra, is that she's not going to do that, but they're going to imply that history is viewing her as the villain. So that's why they're making up shit about her wanting to kill bastards and whatnot.
You see, what?
Go ahead, Don.
If I may, I'm going to say that I think that the catalyst is going to somehow be the death of Jace. That somehow it's going to be implied that it was a thing of, okay, well, yeah, it was he got killed because of one of these bastards, and I knew, like, everyone told you, Rhaenyra, everyone told you that they were no good. You saw the dragon keepers left, and look what happened, and now the heir is dead because of a bastard. We need to do something about this, and that's going to be a thing where she'll wrestle with it for a little bit, and then finally something else may happen, and we're like, you know what, you guys are right, bastards are no good, unless they happen to have Targaryen blood from me.
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, somebody could also like convince Rhaenyra that somehow Alan and or Adam are directly responsible for Jace's death, and that she blames them, and then that's why she tries to kill them, and then locks up Corlys. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I think they could tie it into Jace's death. Um, the other question Mark and I had been talking about earlier, I wonder if they're going to prolong Jace on the show because and not have him die in the Battle of Golden, have him die a little later. I don't know. Keep him around a little bit longer in season 3.
Well, yeah. So I liked your theory on that, is that somehow he was like in command of King's Landing at the time, and he's the one that ordered the bastards to be killed because he's been established of really not liking the bastards, and that would actually make a lot more sense.
Yeah, we did talk about that last time. Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
another possibility that they decide to do. But then again, if he just dies in the Battle of the Gullet and none of that happens, then I don't I don't know. I still don't know what they're and
Yeah.
doesn't tie somehow in some way tie Jace's death into the bastards, then I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, as I said, I think I said before, I can see them doing a toned down version of Rhaenyra in the books, like that she would have to try Adam get killed or whatever, but there would be, as you guys were putting forward, a better reason for it, and it wouldn't be as like idiotic as throwing Corlys in the cells and losing her fleet. Like that, I can see a toned down version of it happening.
Yeah. Or maybe she tries to put Adam in prison because after Ulf and Hugh betray her, which I now see a path for that. And when they were first, but now I definitely see them doing that. That maybe she's like, well, I can't trust any of these bastards, and let's, instead of killing Adam, she tries to put him in prison, and then Corlys helps him escape. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, that also makes sense in terms of the split between Corlys and Rhaenyra, because after Alan called him out about you trying to help me, I'm sorry. Do you not remember the last nearly 20 years of you walking by as me and my mom had to sit there trying to sell fish for money from sun up to sundown? But now that your legitimate son and heir and your daughter are both gone, and the grandkid and your wife, now all of a sudden you want to help me. And Colas, at the end of the day, he wants to make up for his failures in that regard, because now it's not so much about his name so much as it is about having a personal connection to some part of him. So I could see it being a thing where it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you are my queen, but that is my son. You wanted to put my son in prison or possibly kill him because of something that someone else did. Yeah, no, I can't allow that to go down. So you want to throw me in jail for it, fine, but I'm not going to help you to kill my son.
No, I definitely see Corliss doing that. I think there's a quick, easy path for that. It's just the Rhaenyra throwing him in a cell is the one that's hard to buy. But I could buy it like if she put Adam in a cell or sentenced him to death, and Corliss defied his orders of her being like, "I have no choice. Like you defied me. I can't have people under my command openly defying me. I have to put you in a cell."
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so I could see this Rhaenyra doing that only because of the things that have transpired in the past few episodes and how she is now trying to assert that, hey, I am the queen. All right. Do not think just because I wear a skirt means that I am no less I am to be less respected somehow. My word is law. You broke the law. When you break the law, you go to jail. Well,
I
you
am the law. Oh, sorry.
so yeah, so I could see that just in terms of she's not only fighting for the throne, she is also fighting personally for respect. And to have her most senior general, hand of the queen, you know, possible cousin, depending on where the lines get crossed, to have someone who's that close to her inner circle betray her in such a public manner. It's like, no, I already had rebellion from my brother and Alicent and all and that side of the family. I'm not going to have it from you right here as well.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that.
yeah,
I just don't really see the whole her imprisoning Adam thing. That's I think for me that's the hardest thing to buy, especially since they're showing that she actually trusts Adam, and Adam's being like, "Yes, I will serve you, my queen. I will serve you." And it seems like I don't know. It would be out of character for her to turn on him just because of Hugh and Ulf betrayed. Because she seems more. She even says in the finale that she's more iffy on Hugh and Ulf.
I mean, well, no, I get that part,
yeah,
but I do think that at some point it's gonna be a thing where I think a after the death of Jace, she is going to do some reevaluating in terms of, you know what, yeah, he was a bastard, and so was Luke, and they're both dead. Maybe they shouldn't have, you know, maybe they shouldn't have been in line for succession anyway. And yes, they were my sons, but still, bad look. We got to take it back to the old ways. It
I don't see show Rhaenyra doing that. I think that'd
you
be
know, I mean, listen, you know what? There were things that we didn't think Show Alicent was gonna do. That
well.
you
I
know,
still thought it was within her character. This seems kind of outside her character.
I mean,
I
listen,
think what show Allison did actually like fits in with how they
Yeah,
have established her character from the beginning. But with Rhaenyra, like the way that they've established her character, I don't know what she's gonna do later season.
see, when you so just real quick, Don, when you said that you thought that Jace being killed would like make her go a bit angry and mad and turn on everyone. See, that sounds bad to me because that reminds me too much of Daenerys' season 8, where everyone tried to make excuses for her turning into Hitler in 2 episodes by by saying that it's because she lost her what's her face she
uh,
lost
the
what's
handmaiden,
her Masandi
Missandei,
and
Sunday.
yeah and you lost Jorah and it's making her go crazy. See, that sounds just like that, and I don't want the House of Dragon to fall in that same trap.
well, no, that's not what I was trying to say. Is that she just ultimately just goes crazy? I think it's the difference here with it is she's not gonna just go after just random innocent people just because. It's not going to be her standing on top of a wall and hearing bells and it's like must kill the people. Red rum, red rum. No. I think it's
Yeah,
going to be. I think it's going to be a thing of the lords being in her ear, like, hey, look at all that you have lost by not following tradition, um and also her personal grief and personal guilt, because at the end of the day she knows, and she's been living with the fact that, yes, Jace, Luke, and Joffrey are my sons, but they are not, they are not of the noble traditions of how things are supposed to go. And
I
she's been
yeah.
living with that deception for all this time, and she may feel like, you know what, yeah, I lived a lie in public like this for all this time, and now here is the penance that I am paying for it. I need to go back to the traditional way of doing things, because that is the only way, that is the way you win. And I'm not saying that it's right for her to think like that, but
Uh,
I think that based on the way that they have set up the society in this Game of Thrones universe, I could see that being used as those sequence of events, and her trying to fit into the framework still, because remember, Daenerys talked about breaking the wheel, right? Um, Rhaenyra isn't talking about breaking the wheel. She's talking about putting some oil on the squeaky wheel and hoping that things go back to normal. And that's the thing. I think that that could be used as a justification in terms of, okay, well, look what happened when you tried to sneak a bastard on the throne. You tried to
so
sneak a bastard on the throne, and look what it brought. No, if you're going to do this, you have to do it the way that it has always been. You can't try to do it your own way and think that you're going to get the outcome that you want.
So the main issue I have with that, because I think it's what you're saying about Jason's death affecting her, and maybe we'll get a toned down version of the books. I can buy that, but what you just laid out, my main issue, the one thing I cannot buy is that she would ever turn on her sons, Jason, be like, "Oh, I should have never put the bastard." I think that would be really out of character for her. She's been shown to really love her sons. If anything, it would be more like, oh, these bastards killed Jason. Now I'm gonna go after them.
I get that. I'm just saying that, yes, she loves her sons, right? I'm not saying that she would betray their memory in terms of her loving her children. I'm saying that it could be a thing where she now she now looks at it like, okay, yes, I still love my sons, but when I knew that they weren't true born, maybe I should have stepped back, because now look at what it did. And
Yeah,
I'm not saying that that's the right way to think about things. I'm saying that,
yeah, sure. I get that, but what I'm saying is, I think that's out of her character.
okay.
I just don't see her doing that. But anyway, Alyssa, I think you had something you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I'm just completely changing the subject.
Yeah.
But getting back to kind of going back to season 3 predictions, because I have an early season 3 prediction with what's going to happen with Alicent, because so she made a deal with Rhaenyra that you're just going to let me go free, let Helena go free with me. That's not what happened in the book, and I don't think that's what's going to happen in the show. I
Mhm.
think they're going to get the King's Landing, because the big agreement that Rhaenyra made Alicent make is, we're going to have, well, I have to kill Aegon. I have to. That's the only way. And she finally like agreed to that. She's going to get there and see Aegon has escaped and totally blame Alicent for that. And be like, you betrayed me. And she's gonna be like, no, I had nothing to do with it. She's gonna be like, yeah, whatever. and then I think we're back on sort of the path of the book where she will, instead of letting Allison and Helena run free, will imprison them the way that she did in the book, because she will view Allison as going back on her word and not letting her kill Aegon, and she will be convinced that Allison was a part of him escaping, even though she actually wasn't. So that's what I think is going to happen.
No, I totally agree. I was actually thinking the same thing, that that's why they made a point of bringing up, I had to kill Aegon. And yeah, Rhaenyra's totally not going to buy it if Allison's like, no, that wasn't me, it was Larys or whatever. She's going to be like, yeah, sure. Who put Larys up to it? You did. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the case. Now, the one thing that I'm a bit confused about, and this is one thing I wanted to bring up in our other discussions, but again, spoilers, and Darren was there, so I didn't want to bring it. But where are they going with Helena? Because I think they made it very clear that her storyline in the books about her getting, she was overwhelmed with despair and ended up committing suicide. It's very clear that they're not going in that direction, that she's not overwhelmed with despair. In fact, she had the opposite reaction of like, yeah, whatever, shit happens. So how is she gonna die then? I'm thinking maybe somebody kills her, throws her out the balcony, and says it's a suicide. I don't know.
Yeah, but who would, like? Because at this point, Rhaenyra would have King's Landing, right? So the number one suspect would be Aemond, but Aemond's going to be at Harrenhal at this point, most likely. Is Aemond going to have a whole season of visions too? Are we not going to move to Aemond visions? But anyways, yeah. Yeah, see, I don't know. Aemond basically threatened to kill her, and she was like, yeah, that's just not going to change anything for you, dude. I don't care. Like, and I did talk about this last week, or earlier this week, rather, that she clearly like is such a good grasp of the future and everything. Like, she's just kind of basically living out of time. Like, she knows everything that's going to happen, and she's just is so like, her death is insignificant to her because she probably already knows how it's going to happen. And so it's just like, it's insignificant. It doesn't matter. It's like, whatever. Nothing we do matters because everything is already being predetermined in her mind. So it's like, she basically told that to Aemond, doesn't matter what you do now. Like, it's still going to happen. Like, you can't change it. So she doesn't care about her death because she just knows it's just a thing that's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. So, that said, yeah, how is she going to die?
So I just came up with an idea. So if that plays out like Allison put forward, that Aemond leaves King's Landing and Helena just surrenders the city to Rhaenyra when she shows up, that maybe there's still someone in King's Landing who's still loyal to the Greens that kill her for surrendering. Like, you traitor, you surrendered to Rhaenyra.
Who would that be, though? What's the dude's name? Who? The other guy on the small council?
Jasper Wild.
Jasper Wild. Like,
yeah, I think in the book, I think he was beheaded when Rhaenyra took King's Landing.
Yeah. So was Otto, but I was not even there yet, so I don't know what's going to happen with that.
All right. Well, since you bring up Otto, I want to talk about him because I've heard theories of where he is. And my theory is, because to me this would make the most sense, is that the Beesberries have him, because he was supposed to be in the Reach, and we know that the Beesberries are attacking the High Tower forces, and maybe Otto was off by his own. Like, oh yeah, there he is, let's get him, and they capture him and they bring him to Rhaenyra once she takes King's Landing, and she beheads him. That's my theory on what they're going to do with Otto.
You know what? I could kind of see that happening. Yeah, I could kind of see that happening. But I mean, I hope they would give Ethan's at least 1 or 2 more episodes, though, at least. because that would just be weird that he's been gone for half the season.
No,
We
I
get
think we're gonna get some really good like conversations between him and Rhaenyra before she beheads him.
a lot of philosophical about why Aegon deserved to be on the throne and
Yeah.
her and well, you don't you understand, woman? This is a man's world.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex is in the chat saying a theory that I heard as well, that the Red Kraken of the Iron Islands have him. I personally don't think they're gonna bother having the Greyjoys in the show. They mention them, but I don't think they're ever actually gonna show, because they would just be a complication. Like in the books, all they do is attack like the Lannisters to distract them. And that could happen with a line of dialogue off screen. I don't think they need to show them. So I don't think he's going to enter in the story in that big of a way. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, wasn't he traveling like more so along the eastern part of Westeros? And we
Yeah,
know,
well, he was supposed to be going to High Garden, so he's supposed to be in the Reach, which is like right down the.
no, I know that, but I mean like where he was traveling, because King's Landing is on the East Coast, right? Yeah, King's Landing is in the east because it's right by that, like where the
Oh
Star
yeah.
is. So he would have been traveling down east first before he got to the.
Not really. If you look at the map, I should bring up the map. Like the Reach has like a road that goes straight towards the southwest corner of Westeros as what's it called? High Old Town. And so he would be going in a straight diagonal line, so kind of like down from east to west.
Well, either way, the point is he wouldn't be close enough. He wouldn't be close enough to the west to be snatched up by the Greyjoys.
Yeah, either way, I think
Like
he wouldn't be by the sea. He would be right in dap in the middle of the land. He'd be landlocked.
right, because even if you say, okay, the Greyjoys captured him, how did the Greyjoys get all the way around Dorne, all the way past the Stepstones, through the Triarchy without there being any ruckus, and be able to snatch up Otto Hightower? Because this is still before the Lannisters have secured the Triarchy for Aegon's forces, but at the end of the day, the Triarchy is still there.
So one thing I could see the show doing, which I don't think they will, and I hope that they don't, is saying that when Otto left King's Landing, he went straight to the Iron Islands to try to make a peace with the Greyjoys, and they just threw him in a cell instead.
Yeah, no,
that wouldn't make a lot of sense.
No, it would not. Well, to try to break the blockade, but
that's not at all what he said he was doing. Though.
No.
So he just suddenly decided he's doing that off screen. Like, no, that would make a lot of sense to me. I think the Beesberries make the most sense. They've already been mentioned several times in the show. They would be in the right place. I think, I don't know, the Iron Islands, to me, it's one of those theories where I think people maybe overthink things and overextend things, and usually it's the Occam's razor situation. Like, it's whatever the simplest answer is usually the correct one. So I think it's just the Beesberries.
Listen, at the end of the day, Lord Lyman must be avenged. He was wrongfully executed in his chair of office by that brute.
Yeah.
Sir Kristen Cole.
I hope in the show it's the Beesberries that kill Kristen Cole. I don't remember who it was. It wasn't them in the book, I don't think. But
no, in the book it was like the River Lords.
Yeah, it was the River Lords. Yeah, he gets killed in River's Land, so he probably won't end up down there for it to happen. But it would be nice to Beesbury get avenged by his family. But that you're right. He's not going to be in the right location for that to happen.
Yeah, and don't the Beesberries get defeated by Tessarion and Daeron and his dragon?
Don't remember, but I mean,
I think
Maybe not wiped out, but I think he defeats them in a battle somewhere.
Yeah, he defeats. You're right. They do get defeated by Desarion, and that could still happen. Maybe they free Otto, and then I don't know. I was really annoyed by we talked about this before, but in the last video, but I was really annoyed by Otto disappearing all season and then just showing up in a cage without any explanation. Like, I mean, at least show us if you're gonna spend time showing us things, like instead of all the other shit they showed of the Damon having sex with his mother, showing us what happened. Raina running around for 4 episodes. Like, just show us Otto for, I don't know. I was really excited by that.
Do you know how, like, there's a saying of jumping the shark or growing the beard? I feel like Damon having sex with his mother is going to be the saying for filler, for unnecessary dragging out scenes.
That's a weird to express that. I don't know.
But speaking of Dayron, so we definitely get him in season 3, because they've been mentioning him all season, and we see his dragon at the end of season 2. So I think they're definitely going to have like a bunch of scenes introducing him and having him talk amongst the high towers and whatnot.
Yeah, and they hadn't cast him yet, so
yes,
he was never going to be in season 2 because they hadn't even cast him yet. But they will. I am confident they will cast him for season 3, and he will, I think, play a fairly, at least as much as Gawain, whatever else.
Gwen.
Yeah, at least as much as him in season 2. Like, I think. Maybe not like one of the main characters, but we'll see a little bit of Dayron in season 3.
Well, it seems like he'll be like the star of his own storyline. I just think it's a storyline we won't go to that often. It will be.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I am wondering what is the over under on Jace having a beard by the next time we see him?
Well, then the show would be growing the beard, and that's when the House of Dragon will get good again. I think he would look really good in a beard. I think he should grow a beard, honestly. But
yeah. Well, yeah. I think he looked better with long hair in season 2 than.
Yeah, he did. I think long hair and a beard, he would look great. But he might
look kind of like Harwin Strong.
Yeah, he would look a lot like Harwin Strong. But they might kill him off before he has time to. If they stick with the book and have him die in the Battle of the Gullet, he might not have time to grow a beard.
Yeah.
I was more so just talking about the actor and the fact that there is a noticeable difference in age from the end of season 1 to the beginning of season 2, and I'm just like, oh, you guys should have maybe thought this through just a little bit better in terms of if it's going to take 2 years, perhaps maybe we should shoot some of his scenes now and save them for next season. So it won't.
Well, I mean, that's just a common thing in television, like especially if you're going to have 2 years apart now. That's just when you have child actors. That's like a thing.
I mean,
that's
but
just going to happen.
But I mean, like he looked definitely like a child last season, and now he is almost a man grown.
I don't think the difference is that huge. There's definitely a difference.
Look at, I mean, remember Arya? Like, how she was like a little girl to start, and not that many years passed, and then she was like having sex with Gendry, and like everybody made a big deal because she thought she was under 18, but she wasn't, or at least the actress wasn't. But she Arya definitely looked like a young adult by the time it was over, and not that much time had passed. So
I mean, by the time it was over. But in show canon, it was supposed to have been like 5 or 6 years. In show canon here, it's only been a couple of weeks.
I'm not so sure about that. I think I don't know.
Yeah, from the time.
Not the couple weeks thing. You're right about that, but the 5 to 6 years for Game of Thrones, I'm not sure. I think the time is shorter than that.
Really? Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to say.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. So Don can be right. I don't.
And I know in between seasons, like say in between season 3 and 4, it's only supposed to be like a week or two, and Sansa looks like super older all of a sudden. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Sansa, like, all of a sudden was like really tall. Yeah, but there wasn't much time between 3 and 4. They were basically one after the other, and yeah, so it just happens.
Yeah, it just happens with child actors. I mean, look at Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things are like all adults now.
Yeah.
We're 13 years old. I'm a 13-year-old boy. Yeah.
But Brandon had a different suggestion for filler being standing next to the ship. Yeah. Maybe that would be a more appropriate saying for filler.
Yeah. Standing.
What
I don't know. I actually do kind of like having sex with his mom.
You know what? I got it. We can call it prepping for sale.
Yeah.
Prepping for sale.
Like, they were working on that ship all fucking season long, and they finally show it in sailing in the one of the last scenes of the goddamn episode. Goddamn season. I mean, that's frustrating.
Oh, Brandon also makes a good point about the kid who played Bran Stark too. Also, like,
oh yeah,
a really little kid to like a full-grown adult, and like it definitely wasn't that much time in show.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That was in between seasons 4 and 5, I think.
Yeah, because he wasn't in 5, so it was 4 to 6. Yeah,
right. And then when he comes back, he is what they would say in the books is a man grown. He is nearly 6 and 10. He's a man grown now.
Yeah. Oh, looking for the dragon in the veil. Yeah, that could be another one.
Dragon hunt. Yeah, you know what?
Looking for the dragon. I think you can shorten that. Looking for the dragon. I think that's a good looking for the dragon.
Chasing the dragon. There we go.
Right,
chasing the dragon.
So another question I had is, all right, I don't know if you guys would totally disagree with this theory, but I'll throw it out there, is that because at the end of season 2 they show Aegon leaving King's Landing. I think he's not in season 3. I think he returns in season 4 for the big Dragonstone surprise. It's because last time we talked about this 2 years ago, one of you had like a good theory that they would not show Aegon, and then Rhaenyra would show up at King's Landing. He'd go, ha ha! And then the next episode would be kind of like a flashback, even though Game of Thrones has never done that before, but they could do like.
That was me, I think you said that.
Yeah. Like a flashback sort of thing to show how it was him taking Dragonstone. I'm kind of on board with that now. And I think at the very least, even if they show him taking Dragonstone, I still think he won't be in season 3. Because do we really need to see him and Larys fucking around Bravos?
That means Larys would be out of season 3 too?
Yes, both.
That would be a big deal to not have Larys at all in season 3. They don't necessarily even have to go to Bravos like they're planning to. Something else could happen to them. But you know what? I agree, because I think if they did like have Aegon and Larys in just for the sake of having them in, then I think that's going to be, as we say, chasing the dragon. As the saying goes, the old saying.
I think, actually, now that I think of it, I think chasing the dragon is a drug reference to maybe.
No, that's puffing the magic dragon.
That's weed.
Puffing the magic dragon.
Yeah.
No, chasing the dragon is something completely different. That's
chasing the dragon is different. That's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking specifically something else called chasing the dragon.
But anyways, the point is, I think Aegon and Larys in season 3, if they try to give them additional storyline, it's probably just going to be filler that we don't need. So I actually really agree with you that I think I don't think they should have him in season 3 and just have him kind of maybe Laris could return separately, and like because he separates from Aegon. That I could see that, but I think
Well,
Aegon.
but where would he go? Because at first I was thinking, he could go to Harren Hall to Aemon, but he fucking hates Aemon, so he's not going to go to him, and he's not going to go to Rhaenyra. So what would he do?
That's true, but somehow he does have to end up back in King's Landing again in order to be part of the whole Hour of the Wolf thing.
Well, no, he's shown in Dragonstone. Like he goes to Dragonstone with Aegon.
So you're saying in the show he would just go to Dragonstone with Aegon and then go to King's Landing with Aegon?
That's what he does in the books.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I was just reading about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then that could happen then. That
Yeah,
could be
because
what happened.
after Aegon dies, then that's after Aegon dies. Stark show up, take over everything. This guy proclaims himself hand of the king for the Hour of the Wolf, and lots of banishments and beheadings.
So you just read that? Because in my mind, it was Laris was at King's Landing and gets put in the Black Cells by Rhaenyra, and it's just there. And he's
No. I remember he disappeared when she took King's Landing. Like he was the one. No one's like, where the hell is Laris? He just vanished.
Okay. You're probably right. You read it more recently than I did.
Although, and I'm starting to doubt myself that he was at Dragonstone. Now I'm thinking maybe he just reappeared suddenly in King's Landing when Aegon took it.
I don't think he was in Dragonstone.
Yeah, I think I was thinking of Sir Alfred Broom. Because I didn't recognize Alfred Broom because I didn't pay attention to some of these side characters in the books, but I went back when I was reading it, and that he was the one who helped Aegon take Dragonstone. Apparently, he killed like the guy that Rhaenyra left in charge, and he totally defected to the Greens, and then was on like Aegon's council when he briefly took King's Landing.
Yeah. So so we got some foreshadowing of that.
Yes.
He's already trying to betray Rhaenyra. But like I said, like I still wanted Damon to be like, that guy totally tried to sell you out. Like I wanted to see that so badly, but that didn't happen. So yeah, that's totally sets that up. Happening. But I think what you said about Laris disappearing and then reappearing in King's Landing, that sounds right. I do not think he's a Dragonstone.
Now I'm thinking about it, I think that's correct, yeah. But I don't know, the show could change it and have him at Dragonstone. I think it would be better than him just reappearing when Aegon takes King's Landing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just have Aegon off the show for the third season. I can definitely see. I feel like Laris would have to be there somehow. I don't know how, but I feel like Laris would have to be on the show.
See, I'm worried. I don't know. I feel like he would be with Aegon. I suppose they could separate him, but I just don't want to get scenes with Laris and Aegon sort of fucking around in Bravos. It would remind me of like Tyrion and Varys fucking around in Essos. Like, I don't think we need those scenes.
I forgot about that.
But the other question I had is in the book, apparently, and I've forgotten about this as well as rereading it, is that Sunfire killed Moondancer at Dragonstone, because apparently Bella was at Dragonstone.
Yes.
Sir Alfred wanted to kill Bella, but somebody convinced. Maybe it was Laris that convinced her. I thought somebody convinced Aegon not to listen to Sir Alfred Broom. Oh fuck! I'd have to read it again. But it's different in the show, because in the book, Moondancer was like a tiny little, not even grown dragon that couldn't be ridden, and in the show, he's a full-grown dragon. So I don't really see Sunfire in his damaged condition killing Moondancer.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
I mean, they could always just have Moondancer be at King's Landing and die off in the dragon pit with all the other dragons.
Hmm. Still wondering though how they are going to like. Yeah, because wait. First off, how did Sunfire get to Dragonstone before?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't remember how he got the Dragonstone in the book, and like they keep on talking about Sunfire being dead. It's the second time we've heard it, and we've heard it from His Grace himself.
Yeah, he must be wrong. He's been in the bed like almost dying the
He
whole
wouldn't
time.
know. He just
Yeah.
assumed his dragon was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing he was
Well,
told
yeah,
the dragon is dead though.
yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe whoever told him was lying.
Or wrong. Like just
Or
wrong.
wrong, yeah.
No,
Okay, but
Sunfire has to eat Rhaenyra. Has to. Joffrey already said it.
Yes.
I got it. Listen, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. The thing that I'm wondering is though, you know, like Aegon, it's looking like that it's been months of rehab, right? Because I know in the book, Aemon is supposed to rule for a year as Prince Regent, right? So this time around, it's supposed to like I'm guessing it's supposedly have been like a month or maybe a little longer since the Battle of Rook's Rest. Um, and at this point, if Aegon is still thinking the dragon is dead, because who's been feeding the dragon all this time? Then? Like, what's the dragon been doing to?
Well, in the book, was she like surviving off of like it wasn't
No, so
sheep.
in the book, the Greens left some soldiers who would like send, who would like bring it like sheep and whatnot. And then when the blacks retook Rook's Rest, they killed those soldiers, but they tried to kill Sunfire, but was unsuccessful, and Sunfire killed them all. So I don't know how he fed after that, but maybe he like after all that time he healed enough to fly. I don't know. Don't remember. but the other big question mark for me is the Aegon the Younger and Viserys, because in the book Aegon escapes by flying on his dragon, and we saw his dragon in the show is not going to be able to be flown. So how does he escape? Does my best guess is that Rhaena flies there with Sheep Stealer and flies him off.
Yeah, or I mean, it could be really anyone on a dragon. It could be Bela on Moon Dancer. It could be one. It could be Adam on Sea Smoke. Could be Jace himself before he dies and gets Aegon the Younger away. I don't know. I think it's going to just be another character on a dragon. It could be Rhaena. Could be a variety of characters.
Well, the thing for me that I'm thinking about is that in Game of Thrones, Daenerys' dragons grew pretty quickly, right? Um, think about it. By the time season 8 came around, if we're condensing the time period, right? If we're saying that Game of Thrones was only supposed to take place over, let's say, 4 years, right? If it was supposed to take place over 4 years or maybe even less, and Daenerys was able to ride Drogon because he was, I guess technically fully grown, and Aegon is still a kid. You figure then maybe 6 months on the sea or something like that. Maybe the dragon is big enough for him to ride, as small as he is.
Does it take that long to get to Pentos? I was under the impression it didn't.
No, not that it takes that long to get the Pentos, but maybe it's like, okay, well,
because the Triarchy are on their way. Like in the show, they said they'd get there in 2 days, and they're the ones who intercept them. So it's only a matter of 2 days. So the dragon's not going to be able to grow that much in 2 days.
Well, it depends on. Okay, so how long are they taking to travel from the Vale to a harbor that's supposed to take them across to take them across the narrow sea? How long is the journey from the Vale to whatever port they're going to? That they're supposed to take a ship to transport.
Well, see, I don't think that matters because if the Triarchy are going to capture them, they have to be in the water in the boat within a couple days for the Triarchy to intercept them.
I mean, well, we'll see what happens.
Unless the show changes it and they see. I was thinking all along, and I know Alyssa hates this, but that they're going to skip over the boys getting captured, because it's mainly something like, especially this younger Viserys getting captured. That's something they resolve after the Dance of the Dragon ends. So it makes me think that.
Yeah, but I still think they have to keep the basic history intact, whether they show it on screen or not. Like they're not.
I don't see why.
Like
it's not
major events. So
I don't
yeah.
know.
No, it is important that Viserys comes back later as an adult and he's been gone for a while and he ends up eventually getting Iron Throne. No, I think I think he's got to still get captured. But I don't know.
No, does he get that?
Yeah, Viserys gets. Well, he doesn't get captured. He like, I don't remember what happens to him, but he disappears for a long time.
I thought he was captured.
No, he was
captured.
I think he.
Yeah, he was. I just read the part where it said.
Yeah, he did get captured.
Yeah,
and he comes back as an adult, like later.
Yeah,
well, not as an adult. I think he was like a teenager or something.
Yeah, but
Alan goes finds him. Yeah, I read that chapter.
That's an adult in like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but I didn't realize he became king. Is he because Aegon doesn't have any heirs?
No, I think I have to look at the succession again, but I think Aegon. I think at least one of Aegon's sons, if not two, become king first, and then king like much.
Oh, later. That's right. Yeah, because he winds up being handed the king for Aegon, right? And then Aegon's son, one of Aegon's sons takes the throne, winds up dying. Another one of Aegon's sons takes the throne, also winds up dying. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess I got no choice but to be king, because I think he, said that he was like reluctant. He never wants to be king.
Okay, right, all right. I need to reread those chapters. I don't think I ever did read them. Actually, I just read the first couple ones.
So at the end of the book here, it's got just like the order of succession. You can't see it. I'm showing it to you, but it goes. So it's Aegon the Third. And then Daeron the First, the young dragon boy king, eldest son of Aegon the Third. Daeron conquered Dorne, but was unable to hold it and died young. Next was Baelor the First, the beloved, blessed, Septon king. This is Baelor the Blessed.
Yeah,
and Baelor the Blessed was next. He was son of Aegon the Third, and he's king for about 10 years, and then after that, after many years later, then Viserys the second, younger brother of Aegon. So two of Aegon's sons become king first, and then Viserys becomes king probably much later in life.
Oh yeah, it sounded like he would be much older. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've forgotten about that, but I still think they could skip this being held captured.
Yeah.
If they do have him held captured, then they definitely need to do an epilogue that explains how he got back.
Yeah. They should. But I think anyway, the answer to the original question to me is just very simple. Any other character can come and play Aegon off. Anyone could. Rhaena, Adam, Baela.
I suppose I was just thinking that Rhaena since she's in the Vale and close to them, that she would fly
Yeah,
with the ship.
sure. Could be
Yeah.
Rhaena. Sure.
But
Could be Rhaena that comes and saves them. But yeah.
because
Rhaena would make the most sense since she was the one who was supposed to be with him in the first place.
Yeah.
And she selected her duties. So she's you know, like, holy fuck, I was supposed to protect Aegon. So then maybe she goes and rescues him. So that makes a lot of sense to me. But the point is, someone will rescue him on a dragon. He doesn't need his own dragon. It's fine.
So what do you think the chances though are of that they keep Jace alive and he kind of takes Joffrey's place in the book, because Joffrey was the one with Rhaenyra at the time of.
And how would Joffrey die?
Oh,
because he's got to die in order for Aegon.
Yes, but I don't. Yes, but I don't know if I see him jumping on the dragon unless he, we get another child actor growth spurt. He's a bit small for that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they could have Jace take that storyline, and then Joffrey just dies some other way, like off screen, because nobody cares about him anyways. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not really that much of a character.
So, in the books, I can't remember, Rhaenyra send for him from the Vale when she takes King's Landing, and because I remember Joffrey being in King's Landing with Rhaenyra.
Yeah, I believe after Jace died, I believe she called back her other sons so she could have her sons.
So maybe someone kills him on
the way. Yeah, or maybe he just dies in the Vale, because I believe it was after Jace died that she did that. So if they were to keep Jace alive longer, then she wouldn't call him back necessarily.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe some of the Hills people kill him.
Yeah, maybe it's those dudes that Tyrion was hanging out
with.
Exactly. Like, sure, what was
what did they cut off his manhood?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I suppose I could see that happening.
Yeah, the show doesn't seem to care about Joffrey, so he could just die off screen.
I mean, it doesn't care about a lot of people. We never got Maelor at all.
Yeah.
And Aegon has confirmed that he won't be making any more children. Period.
Yeah, that's true. He cannot make any more children. That was very graphically described. So he can. That is so. But as to your original question, what I think the chances are of Jace surviving the Battle of the Gullet in the show, I would say 50-50. I could see them going either way. I could see them sticking with the book. Let's just kill. This is where he's supposed to die. But I could see them trying to keep him alive longer because he's stepped up as a pretty important character in the show. So.
I think it would be better to keep him. And I like your theory about he's the one that goes after the bastards. That would make sense.
It would make sense because he's the one who hates the bastards now.
Yeah.
So it would make total sense for him being the one who goes after them. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's is it me or is his hatred of bastards, a little
hypocritical?
Yes, because I mean, it's like, come on, man, you know what you are now. Mind you, you may not want your spot to be threatened. I get that, but you also know that these people definitely don't have a claim on your spot in the same way that you do. People know you. No one knows any of these dragon seeds. In terms of nobility. So you can say, oh, for example, Ulf could say that he's the grandson of Jaehaerys. Other than the fact that you have a dragon, and now it's been demystified a little bit, we don't know that that's true. So no, you don't get to be the king just because you have a dragon. That is not the way we do things. And Hugh Hammer, hey, claims to be the son or could possibly be the son of Sarah Targaryen, and they've already kind of established, and as part of what the war is about,
Yeah,
that
I think the showrunners confirmed that he's supposed to be the son of Sarah Targaryen.
hmm, right. So at the end of the day, though, Jace Jace is being very hypocritical because he knows how the system works. So he knows that the system is not just going to accept, these bastards, because he knows that, hey, if he ever admitted to the truth, he wouldn't be accepted. So yeah, it's hypocritical of him to be like, oh, these people are mongrels and they shouldn't be allowed to have dragons and all. It's like, dude, I'm sorry. Here is a giant mirror. Can you please say that again?
Yeah. Well, I think it's exactly the why he hates it, because he does see that in himself, and he hates himself for that. And so and I think he was legitimately worried that if they can ride dragons, other bastards can ride dragons, then what makes him a special bastard anymore? But I
Listen,
love
I'm
Bela's line to him last episode, where she was like, "Do you really think you're the first lord to not be sired by your lord father? Like, you're definitely not." Um, so basically, you've got nothing to worry about. But I mean, yeah, I can kind of see, yeah, why he was. I can see why he was acting like that, because he's worried about um, if because he does see himself, even though he's a bastard, he does see himself above them because his mom's the queen.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so he still sees himself as being above them, and he can ride a dragon that puts him above them. So if they can ride dragons too, then he's like, well, then I'm just a regular bastard. I think that's what he was upset about.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he knows that he has the backing. I mean, look, the fact that there are already lords who are still willing to back you, and the fact that even though they most likely know, because look, yes, in the book, Rhaenys has black hair, and they decided, okay, well, we can't give her black hair because if that's the only distinguishing feature, uh, that separates these people, separates Jace, Luke, and Joffrey, it's just the black hair. It's like, oh, nah, Granny has black hair, so no, you can't say we're bastards just because of the hair color, which is why making the Valarians black was one of those ways of, oh hey, look, there's something definitely different here because look at all the rest of these kids.
Yeah, making the Bryants black like really made it super obvious
Like,
that the kids were bastards. Like, it
yeah,
was
the only thing black about Rhaenyra's kids is their hair. So yeah, sorry, we don't. It would have been. Hey, it could have been plausible if they were able to get some nice
yeah.
dreads going on there, but
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying, Don. I think that Jace should have known better, should know better, and should know that, like, that's not how the system works. He's gonna be fine. He shouldn't be worrying about it. But he's like, yeah, insecure little kid, and like he's or teenager, and I think it's essentially what Bela said. It's like, you think you're the first one to not be sired by his Lord Father. You're fine. It's gonna be fine. You're fine. Don't worry
and,
about
and,
it.
and honestly speaking, I really think that it should have been Rhaenyra uh, making that point to him.
No, I think it needed to be Bela because he wouldn't really listen to Rhaenyra, I don't think. And I also like the fact they're giving Bela more screen time. I like the character.
Yeah.
And that seems to be her character is to put people in their place. Like she put Corlys in the place earlier in the season, and she put Jason. It's
Yeah,
like,
but they've also established a rapport between
yeah,
Jason and Bela,
yeah.
that they're theoretically betrothed one day, with with no wedding date set, and Chase is going to die before that happens. But um,
Mm-mm.
But yeah, they have really good rapport on screen together. So I like her. Yeah, and I agree. I think as a spoiled little teenager brat, I don't think he would listen to his mom saying that to him, but listening to his future wife, his friend. I mean, they're definitely friends, you know. So
Yeah.
I can see that.
Oh, you think that Jace would have been even more whiny? But mom, I'm not the only one with a dragon. Mom, we have dragons too.
But
Yeah,
he did either way. He did seem to have a turn at the end of the season where he's kind of getting over that and just supporting Rhaenyra and
yeah,
going with her. But even so, there's definitely still a divide between like Ulf said all the wrong things to him, and so there's still going to be a
yeah.
huge divide. So I want to talk a bit about Ulf and Hugh, because we can now see a clear path to them sort of betraying.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mentioned that earlier. Yeah,
yeah, you did. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, well, maybe not so much Hugh, but definitely Ulf.
yeah, Ulf is very obvious that he's letting dragon writing go into his head. Hugh, not so much because they portrayed Hugh very differently in the show. Is that he seems to be more honorable, which is very different than how the books portrayed him. So I still
But
think he has a journey to go through before he would betray Rhaenyra.
what
You
before
know what
Hugh?
though? Hold on. You know what though? The whole thing with him punching the guy and taking the food. You know, like we understand.
And that's the case of him doing what he needs to do to save
Right.
his young daughter. So,
Desperation. He did
yeah,
Yeah.
the desperation thing, but at the end of the day, no, that was not the honorable thing to
it
do.
was desperate because it's a different situation for him betraying Rhaenyra. He's not getting food to save his dying daughter. It's I don't think that earns
Well,
a
there also, you know, the scene where he, you know, saves that woman in the dragon pit.
yes.
He said the actor
Uh-huh.
said, "Oh, that's interesting that you guys think that he saved her. Oh, that's interesting." Like he's suggesting that that's not actually what he was doing. That he had different motivations. I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but that's because it looks pretty clearly to me like he saved
Yeah.
her. But the actor was like, "Oh, interesting. That's how you guys interpreted that."
Well, that's how they filmed it. Like that's how they edited it. It's very clear that
Well,
he
what that
saved her.
might tell me is the actor might know something we don't about what they're
Mm.
planning. So with you,
I
I don't
don't know.
know.
Actors usually don't know this. I think he's just judging
Yeah,
it off of what
yeah,
they're going by so far because they hadn't even written season 3 yet.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
think
I
they.
don't know, but I think with Hugh, I think Mark, you had mentioned previously that it could be um, the difference between how Rhaenyra treats you know, the common folk, and then he could just rebel against that whole idea because he's like enough will be enough. Because Rhaenyra is kind of she's very classist. She does not think
Yes.
very
No.
highly of
That I think is the path to Hugh
yeah.
between Rhaenyra.
And
Is
that he could be like, well, fuck it then. You know, we just need to burn this whole thing down, and we need to take
because
over.
he doesn't have the same kind of like devotion that Adam does. Like
No,
this,
definitely not.
yeah. So, but I still think it's gonna take for him to get there. That and he wouldn't see the Greens as any better than the Blacks. I think.
Yeah,
So I think if he sided with the Greens, it would just be a means to an end to try to overthrow these lords or whatever.
yeah, yeah. But I think Adam though is in the book uh like after he escapes, instead of betraying Rhaenyra, he doubles down on trying to
Yes.
prove that he supports her. And I think that's very much in character with Adam on the show too. That
Yes.
is
Yes.
very devoted to her. Again, we
Yeah.
had talked about this earlier. We don't know how the show is going to do with the whole capturing of Adam thing and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting all that again. But I do think that it's at least consistent in how devoted he is to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Who was that way in the book as well.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention in our last review, but couldn't because of spoilers, is the Damon's vision when they see the dragons lying dead on the ground. Like I heard, like it theorized that was the second battle of Tumbleton, and that was Silverwing and Vermithor and Sea Smoke after the battle.
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember Damon seeing dragons lying on the ground.
Yeah, it was part of his vision. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was part of his vision that he got from George. No, I mean, like, I don't know if you guys had heard that the weirwood tree there at Heron Hall is
Yeah.
supposed to be George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, I heard. I would have never noticed that myself, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Once it's pointed out, though, you can definitely see.
Yes.
You can be like, oh yeah, that's definitely George R. R. Martin. But I wouldn't have thought of it on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy for me, just thinking about how they decided to go about doing that whole scene, and I like the fact that they're still throwing in the magic of the old gods, even though you don't get to see Children of the Forest. So, and again, for me, that whole thing with Damon and Harrenhal, very reminiscent of Bran in is it Feast of Crows or Dance with Dragons? Whichever
he was in Dance with Dragons. I don't think Bran was in Feast of Crows.
Okay, so then Dance with Dragons.
Yeah.
Like his chapters with the different visions and all that. Damon's whole arc this season reminded me of that, and I was able to come up with some of my best theories off of those Bran chapters. So, I mean, even though there's really nothing to theorize here because this is all, again, a lot of symbolism and getting Damon to a place mentally where he is going to say, okay, well, fine, yes, it wasn't my destiny to be king. It's my destiny to help Rhaenyra win the crown. So,
all right. So I know this is irrelevant, but I wanted to point out that Brandon sent me a message saying that he looked up Chase the Dragon, and it is a slang for smoking heroin. So
smoking heroin?
Yeah, smoking heroin.
People smoke heroin?
Apparently,
some people do, and they call it chasing the dragon.
God damn it. So we can't use chase the dragon because that's
looking for the dragon. We go back to looking for the dragon.
Yeah, looking for. I still like Damon
hunting the dragon.
Yeah, well, I think it needs to be short though. Like I think growing the beard or 3-word phrases.
Having sex with your mother.
Fucking your mother, like that could be really. But I still like chasing the dragon, even if it's taken for drugs or looking for the dragon.
Looking for the dragon,
yeah.
Or I'm partial to standing by the ship.
Standing by the ship. Yeah, that's really standing by the ship.
Prepping the sail, man. Prepping
the sail. Yeah. The show's been prepping the sail.
All right, so I had laid out my predictions for season 3, assuming there's 8 episodes. This is how I think they could do it. The episode 1 setup. Maybe have some of the minor battles that they just fly through real quick. Episode 2, Battle of the Gullet. Episode 3, the aftermath of the Gullet. Episode 4, Taking of King's Landing. Episodes 5 and 6, aftermath of that, and all this other minor stuff. Episode 7, Kristen Cole dies. And episode 8, First Battle of Tumbleton. So that would leave Aemon and Damon fight, the whole Shepherd and Dragon Pits thing, and the second Battle of Tumbleton for season 4, and Hour of the Wolf and all that stuff. So
so season 4 would definitely have to be 10 episodes then.
Well, Mark, I'm going to be really frustrated if it takes till episode 4 for the Taking of King's Landing. That should be by episode 2.
It's not going. if this.
But no, like you said, they need to speed it up. They said 3 days. You can't take 4 episodes for 3 days if you want to get this thing moving. and you want to get
So-
things done in 4 seasons.
But do you think the Battle of the Gullet will be before the taking of King's Landing?
Could be simultaneous. It could be in the same episode. They could be going back and forth between those two things.
Could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe you're right. Maybe they'll speed things up and go faster.
They have to.
I was being a bit more conservative because, but yeah, I did kind of leave too much for season.
I mean, they could do that if they want to do 5 seasons, but Ryan Condal has said he wants to do it in 4, so they need to let's get moving here.
Yeah, because listen, honestly
I
speaking,
just don't trust them to after this season.
I mean, listen, because honestly thinking, I was thinking that the season would end with the Battle of the God's Eye. You know,
Yeah, that's what Alyssa said, and that's what I said originally last 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then I originally said, well, I think I'm the one who originally said, well, they need to keep Matt Smith, not Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon's too busy appearing in the next Thor movie or something. So
they're gonna recast David and David as Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. No, Matt Smith. Yeah, that they were gonna keep. They need to keep Matt Smith around longer. But now that I've seen how far they've gotten in season 2, and Ryan Condal's still insisting that they're going to have 4 seasons, I think they got and the fact that they've already foreshadowed the Battle of the God's Eye in season 2. I think that's the Chekhov's God's Eye. I think you got to pay it off by the end of season 3 because they've already foreshadowed it. I don't think you can wait a full other season to do that. So
I feel like
Battle of the God's Eye is the end of season 3.
But I feel like there would be no Team Green for season 4 in that case. Like, I think you need to keep Eamon alive to have a Team Green in season 4.
Well, then the Shepherd becomes like the main villain in season 4.
Yeah,
the main opposition, and Aegon's still alive. So
yeah, I suppose they.
And
could
Laris is still around. Daeron, I forget, how does Daeron die? I forget.
Oh, I forget too. I know I'm pretty sure he's killed like some, like not on his dragon. He's killed.
Was he killed by like after Ulf and? No, what I don't remember now.
Yeah, I have to look this up. I know he was killed in Tumbleton. That much.
Yeah, he was killed in Tumbleton.
Yeah, but I don't know, because now I've taken the position. We swapped. Now I think they want to keep Matt Smith around.
Yeah,
especially seeing how slow they're going. But
they have to speed it up if he wants to do 4 seasons. They have to. Otherwise, I mean, if they take season 3, if they do season 3 like they did season 2, then they cannot finish it in 4 seasons. They would have to do 5 seasons.
I don't know. I think my layout there is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can have. I don't think that you have Battle of the God's Eye, the what do you call it, the Shepherd and all that stuff. There's a name for that, but I'm forgetting. But
Dragon.
Yeah, Battle of the God's Eye, that, and the second Battle of Tumbleton, and Aegon killing Rhaenyra all in one season. No, there's no way. Then that would be like cramming way too much in one season, and that would be, if they're worried about CGI budget, like to do all of that in a single season. No way. Like,
see, I was thinking if
it has to be in season 3, has to be.
If they set up for the whole Shepherd, and they could set up for it in season 3, like introduce him and set it up.
Yeah.
But just pay it off in season 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Budget-wise, how are they going to do all of those dragon battles and dragon things?
Yeah, we can. Well, you get the Battle of the God's Eye, the Dragon Pit, and second Battle of Tumbleton. Yes, they're all huge dragon things, and then plus you have to have Sunfire killing Rhaenyra, but that's not that huge of a budget killer. But And then you also they should have the battles of the Baratheons getting defeated by the River Lords. I mean, that can happen off screen, but they still need to
So they're gonna do like the battle. What was it called? Like the Battle of the Lake, which was this huge deal in the book.
Yeah,
But it was like all characters that we don't follow.
Yeah.
There was no like main characters in it. So
I mean, I wonder if they're gonna change. They could change Damon's storyline so that he's a part of it.
Yeah, they could do it. They would just. I remember reading about it and being like, "Oh, this is a really cool battle," but I don't know how they would do this without.
Yeah,
they'd have to put a main character in it.
Yeah, I know, Alyssa. So you're probably right, but the thing is, I'm a bit scarred by season 2. I'm just being a bit more.
But he's still saying 4 seasons, so like, he's gotta pick up the pace.
But I don't know. I don't think it's cramming that much in season 4 if you did it the way I said. But I don't know. Maybe it depends on how they do it. I could see it going either way, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. And responding to Brandon, that's what you heard about the slowness is because the CGI is mega expensive. But now you're going to have to put more CGI in seasons 3 and 4. Like you should have spread it out a little bit more. Like seasons 3 and or 4 were going to be super expensive.
Well, but that makes me think that they're going to downplay some of these battles and not spend that much money on the CGI budget for something.
Yeah.
All right, we can go ahead.
The pace because he's got to get it done in 4 seasons supposedly, and if he wants to get it done in 4 seasons, he has to pick up the pace. Anyways, I'm answering.
No, and that's what I was saying, and I do agree that they need to, but I still don't. I don't know. I still think they're going to have a couple episodes with Rhaenyra standing out the balcony.
Well, after this season, I was like, "Oh, well, this is definitely going to be 5 seasons." And then right after that,
that's what I thought too. Yeah. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and end this discussion here. Thank you both so much for joining for this discussion. And thanks for everyone in the chat who joined us, Brandon, Alec, and Alex, and anyone else who stopped by watching it in the archives. Thanks so much for checking us out. And thank you so much, Don, for joining us once again. If you just want to give a big shout out to what you're up to and where people can find you.
So I haven't been on YouTube as much, unfortunately, and I need to get back to that. Right now, for the most part, I am doing custom T-shirts. So you can look me up on on Instagram at Impero Clothing CO. IMPERO Clothing. And I will be back for whatever discussions you guys will have me for. I can't wait until next season of Game of Thrones content, which will apparently be the first season of Dunk and Egg, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I'm gonna have to go read those now.
What, you never read the? Oh man, those are actually pretty good for their.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
For there to be 0 dragons in it and still take place in this universe, I think they are excellent stories. And hopefully, McFly, George will finish the other 4 novellas, so this way, Night of the Seven Kingdoms doesn't wind up eclipsing the series the way that Game of Thrones eclipsed A Song of Ice and Fire.
Well, as long as Dan and Dave aren't doing it.
Yes.
Their names are mud at this point. They were supposed to do Star Wars after Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no,
we haven't heard from them. I think they did one project.
They did Three-Body Problem.
Yeah, Three-Body Problem, which I'm not going to. I refuse to watch that.
I watched it because people my live chat that I was doing, I don't remember if Brandon was one of them, but some people in my live chat were like, "Oh, I think it was Allison Fordyce. Like,
Yeah.
It's a really good book. I can't wait to see the show." And then I watched it, and it was the story was good, but as I said in my written review, it doesn't really have characters so much as it has walking and talking plot devices to make the story go forward. And like you do not care about any of these characters at
Uh,
all. Like it was because the story, I could tell the source material was good, but like Dan and Dave fucked it up just like they fucked up Game of Thrones. So it wasn't like, yeah. So yeah, you don't need to watch it. I didn't think it was very good, personally.
uh, so I'm just reading. Brandon sent me how Dayron dies, and I was just reading. And apparently, he died during the second battle, and is not known exactly how he died. Some people claim he was cut down by a black trumbo with a morning star. I cannot remember who the hell that is, but anyway. So yeah, it leaves it
Yeah,
open for the show to do it. But
well,
anyway,
yeah. Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm in Alyssa Jean's reviews. I was really hoping to get my House of the Dragon, my prediction review out. So I haven't had time, but I gotta find the time to do it tomorrow. So I will hopefully have that out soon. Otherwise, I'm not really doing much on my channel. You can watch all my Star Trek content from past days, from past years and months. Um, yeah, go check out Alyssa Jean's reviews.
so if you're finding me for the first time, my name is Mark, channel's Enchantment of Eternity. I am going to go dark on any sort of Game of Thrones related stuff until Night of the Seven Kingdoms comes out, because I gotta just try to forget about this, because it's gonna be a long 2 years if I think about this at all. So, but I will continue with all my Star Trek content. Got a lot of Star Trek videos currently going through every episode of Star Trek, currently in season 6 of TNG and starting season 1 of DS9 soon as well. And of course, we'll be back for live streams, probably with these guests here every month, to continue my top 25 favorite episodes of Star Trek. So you can check out my channel for that. Thanks everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Valid Iris.